What's good? Beautiful people. Just out here enjoying the day. Some peaceful weather. Got a Rocky Patel decade here that I'm finishing off. These are solid. Before anybody asks, because I get this a lot, okay? Why do you shave your widow's peak? Why? Because I want to maximize the area of my forehead. I want it to be as big as possible. It's like, why do I go to the gym? So I'm not a frail little man. I have personal preferences. It's like I like sassy Latinas. There's just something about them. I don't need to explain myself to you. Was trying to get through a little bit of this. I know, super cliche, but pretty good stuff nonetheless. Just kind of what's on my mind. I don't really have a chronological order to the videos that I'll be putting out. It's kind of just what's in the moment, what's on my mind, you know. And that's kind of what I talked about in my last video. Is that there's just a lot of toxic shit out there that a lot of people are believing, and there's a lot of factors going in right here that is kind of disturbing the dynamic between men and women, and not good. So we'll get into those here in a minute. This is Chloe. Say hi, Chloe. I'm gonna finish my cigar here and ponder things for a little bit. Make sure I have a concise, strong message here. So there are a lot of factors causing disparity in the world of dating here, and we're gonna break that down here. First of all, like, obviously our forefathers didn't need dating advice on the internet to get us to where we were, because if they did, we'd be extinct. We wouldn't be here. Quite frankly, they didn't have time to sit around and study a bunch of evolutionary psychology and become this over analytical weirdo and figure out how he needs to be. He just knew that he had to put something forward in the world from him. He manned up and got it done. At least that's the case for most of us. If that's not how you came about, there's nothing wrong with that, but you can do that. That's the whole point. And they didn't really have access to any of this stuff either. And coincidentally, the birth rates and marriage rates were up substantially back then, before all this technology came about. So this is that kind of, this is what I'm talking about in a nutshell right here.
Every time you hear people speak from a different perspective, it's not their betas or whatever. It's just that life has just changed them through experience.
That sounds boring. I don't want to be, when I'm 32, I want to be fucking double the bitches I'm fucking now. I want to be having a bigger house, I want to be down the Hugh Hefner shit. That's what makes you excited. That's what keeps your balls going. Like, you can't let go of that. You can't let go of your manhood at a certain age. If you give up on that, I'm like, oh, I like playing macaroni drawings with my kids.
You know what you sound like? You sound like a lot of the young women I know who say they just want to travel for the rest of their life and live on a beach.
So this is the general feeling that a majority of men have, usually young men. These are the thoughts of an immature boy or man-child. This kind of thinking comes from two things: being terribly heartbroken and growing up in a hypersexualized society where pornographic material is everywhere that you look. And sometimes some darker things that we're not going to get into this video. And I think that any man who believes that this is what he really wants, this quantity of women over quality of a woman, just still hasn't gotten over his past and his heartbreaks from the past and has yet to take full accountability for what happened to him. So in turn, we have this paradox of somebody who is trying to keep themselves from getting hurt by hurting other people. And this is not just with romantic relationships and anything. This can go into a lot of the way that people behave, whether it be with desires of getting rich, envy, wanting to hurt people physically and stuff like that because it happened to them. Now they think they're gonna feel better about it by reflecting that onto other people. And this guy is somebody who prides himself in being one of the real woke ones and waking people up, but he can't even control these primal thoughts and desires of his to see past it and see that this way of thinking is what is wrecking people in the world and relationships. Now this is how a majority of dudes think. That is true. And usually they just have an ego so big that no amount of women can satisfy it for them. All at the same time, trying to convince themselves that they don't need validation from women and teaching this to their fan base. Here's another point.
That men want sex with quantity, women want sex with quality, and they want to adhere to that. My argument is this. If a woman gets security from one guy, they typically don't want to have sex with multiple partners. However, if a man has the best girl in the world, he's still going to want to have sex with other women. Okay? So think about this. Let's think about algebra. You got to equalize on both sides, right? The woman is getting what she wants. She has security from that man. She got the best guy that she can get. Bam, she feels satisfied. The man, however, he's still missing something. This is where the infidelity comes in. So even if a guy has the best girl ever, I've said this a million times on this podcast, women get mad when I say it. You're never going to be enough for your guy. Men have an insatiable thirst for sex and they want variety. You're never going to do it by yourself, okay? So some girls accept this and some girls don't.
Now these guys obviously have the same problem. And I'm not going to try to speak on behalf of everybody like these guys try to do with men and women. I'm just going to speak for myself here, but I believe that I'm not alone in this matter. I don't have these desires anymore. And but I do understand. I've been through that phase, and I've gotten it out of me because it only made things worse. It's a void that you try to fill as you deny yourself what you really want because you're afraid of it. I think any man who has reconciled with his shadow and healed from his past does not want quantity over quality with women. I know deep down that every man does want to be monogamous. Some of them just don't believe that that kind of reality is possible. And I'm not saying that I disagree with all of the talking points that these guys have. Some of them are very true. Like when it comes to the hypergamous nature of females and how you need to be the very best that you can, because you get what you give here. I'm not going to talk about the rudimentary kind of things that these guys teach here, because yeah, you need to go to the gym, you need to make money, you need to dress better, you need to clean your fucking room, you need to move out of your parents' house. If you don't have anything going on in your hometown, you need to get the fuck out. You need to become a skilled and competent man and have an abundance to give to less fortunate. So a majority of what these guys do talk about, I do agree with. And I do think that the dialogue that's being had is very, very necessary. But it's very, very flawed. It's very, very flawed in their solutions to these issues. It's good that these issues are coming to light, but the solutions are, in turn, just creating more problems. But I have been through this phase of, running through women and running from my problems, and till I reflected deeply enough and realized what this kind of behavior actually came from. And there's a lot of things from my childhood that made me into a hypersexualized young boy. And the main thing that put me there was getting my heart broken. And I believe that being heartbroken is absolutely, number one, inevitable, number two, essential for the transformation of a boy to a man. And the thing is, a man's love, and I'm talking about a real man with a fucking backbone, is deeper than anything. So deep that we are willing to die for people that we love. We are willing to be killed and kill for people that we love. We've done it throughout all of history, especially for women, primarily for women and children. And when we're young, these emotions are no less passionate when we're at a younger age, but we don't have the understanding that can only be obtained from this pain. It hurts us so deeply that we do anything that we can to ensure that it never happens again, and we end up creating these defense mechanisms. And this red pill stuff is that exactly. But what this does is, number one, we try to convince ourselves that we don't want what we actually want, and number two, closes off any opportunity for that ever happening in terms of, a monogamous long-term relationship that we all actually want, having a stable family and being a father like we all actually want, and having a woman that loves us and respects us and is loyal to us like we all actually want. Seeing things through the red pill lens of just trying to get as much as you can, and the aspect of being promiscuous, this is what it does. It creates a vicious cycle that just keeps these things happening again to yourself and to other people. Because every time that you give yourself away to someone who you don't care about or doesn't care about you, you're giving a piece of your soul away. Your soul is just like time. It's finite. And this is how you need to see things. If you think that you're a high value man, if you're such a high value man, why are you spilling your seed to a bunch of women that will never hold it down for you? Just so you can convince yourself that you're the man. You must not be that high value if you're giving it away to women who never want you that way. Want you for the superficial things, and you want them for the same reasons. And we continue this cycle of shallow people. Maybe you have some friends that are just thirsty all the time, and that's kind of taken up a majority of their mind space, or they think you like hearing them brag about hooking up with some chick. If you have those type of friends, you either need to set them straight or let them go. Like if a rich man, money is nothing to a rich man. It's not fulfilling to a rich man. This is not to brag, but I've never had any issue with attracting women. It's not all that it's made out to be if you're just trying to satiate your lust, which you never will. And this is how I see things. Like, this is how a man needs to perceive the bad things that happen to him. Okay? And this is probably not going to be a very popular idea, but you as a man are responsible for all the things that happen to you, especially with relationships. Like, she dumped you, it's your fault. She cheated on you, it's your fault. Okay? Seeing it any other way doesn't benefit you. Whether she was a terrible girlfriend or not, you allowed that into your life. You ignored your intuition and all the bad patterns. You have to take accountability for that instead of, I don't know, assuming that a woman is going to take accountability for what she did to you because you're being fucking weak. And that's usually what it boils down to. You're being fucking weak. That's not to say that women aren't to be held accountable for anything. There's a couple main things that lead to the creation of these types of women that, you know, these kind of guys on the internet and their angry fan bases resent and talk about and try to make it seem like all women are this way. But this is just things that I have seen. And these are not new talking points. There's nothing new here. But of course, social media has kind of made it impossible for any one man's attention to be enough for one woman. And it's not all women, just the ones you can tell. You go to her Instagram, you can tell what kind of girl she is. If she doesn't have an Instagram, even better, okay? The attention seeking, and now they're just connected to this ocean of men, and a majority of them are weak men that give a bunch of unsolicited attention for free to these women, and that devalues the attention of the man that she is with or would be with. That's the most recent thing. Another huge problem is these unrealistic expectations of relationships and romance that these girls watch growing up in these Disney movies and other films, because they are just given this ideal. They're just given this ideal and they think that's what they should expect in real life, and they become disappointed and resentful towards the men who they end up being with because they have unrealistic expectations. And especially if they don't have a good example set by their father and their mother in the household, they'll never be able to see past that. Like I just said, bad fathers. We all know that. Women will say, oh yeah, I did have daddy issues, but now I've fixed those. And then we'll go on to complain about their father. Okay, that means they haven't. That means they still have those issues. That's what another thing that these red pill things are teaching, is that women want to be dominated. I mean, in certain very specific areas, yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. And they need that. But it's just like the father who was over-controlling and overbearing and over-critical. And these are the girls that go out and be super promiscuous in spite of their father, just like the ones who were completely absent. Same outcome. So yeah, fathers, obviously, we know, huge factor in the outcome of how a woman comes to be. And then bad role models, another recent thing. Well, not really recent. Bad role models when it comes to celebrities. We've all heard people say about this, the Kim K's, the Cardi B's, that feminist type of stuff. I don't need no man. I'm gonna make my own money. That's okay, make your own money. But just understand that, neglecting your maternal desires and natures is never gonna make you happy. You can go out and try to be a part of the masculine-dominated capitalist environment, but you're going to have to take on a masculine nature, and that's going to make you unhappy. That's what happens. And I don't blame women for being feminists and just being unavailable and not even being interested in dating. Like, I see a majority of these dudes out here and how they are. That's what we're talking about here. If I was a girl, shit, I'd probably be one too. Because what else would I do? Be dating one of you What else would I do? Be dating one of you man-children? Man-childs? One of you angry little boys who gets upset when I don't touch his wiener? And it is true when they say that a man is made, he has to create value, he has to make himself value, and a woman is inherently valuable, and that has to be preserved. But now women are being taught that whether or not that is preserved, you are entitled to whatever you want. And then you have these women who are like, oh, I'm just not gonna settle. I'm just not gonna settle for anything until I'm 30 and my eggs are dried out and I'm infertile. There's just a lot of entitlement there, and they think they can just retain this bad attitude and believe that they deserve more, and it's just gonna come to them without any change on their part, any improvement on their part, because they walk around thinking they're dimes with no room for improvement. And yeah, we ignore them. We simply ignore them. Number one, you guys have to build yourselves up and quit complaining about the standards, because you should have those for yourself. And I'm not just talking about, I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about your character. I'm talking about your integrity. Okay? You should just be more picky and be able to be better at discerning about which women are and aren't worth interacting with. Like, for example, me and my bro went out the other night to have a good time, and you know, it was weird because we're at Texas Live in Arlington, and there was like this weird electronic rave kind of concert going on the first floor, which is really out of place over there. And we checked it out for a second, and usually there's some pretty unsavory people in those types of environments. Had to ignore some girls trying to dance up on us because, quite frankly, I'm not attracted to girls who go out in booty shorts and fishnets. So we ended up going upstairs where the country music was being played, just more my style. And we ended up talking to a few girls there that, you know, they were kind of one of the few there that didn't have a bunch of makeup on and were dressed modestly. Okay? I don't want to talk to you if you look like trouble. I don't want to talk to you. Okay? It's just, I'm not even attracted to that anymore. I'm just not. I used to when I was immature. And that's another thing, like, we weren't going out to with the intent to get with girls, but I'd rather have some company from some girls than not. But this is another thing that I want to talk about in another video, is like the power that your intention has behind your actions and how that drives the outcome of things. Because my intention was just to go there and enjoy myself, help my friend enjoy himself, and whoever was around us. And that's magnetic. So yeah, that's kind of the first part of my problem, what I think is the problem with this ideology. And like I said, it is essential, but there are things that need to be kind of corrected and set straight. They're not just going to be the same issues; they're going to get worse, actually, because that's what has happened over time. Problems that go ignored and unresolved compound and get worse. We've seen this happen with this. That's it for this rant. If you are pleased with what's being communicated here, I encourage you to share this channel and his videos with people that you know and people that you care about.